So, what are we chatting about today?
So I just want you to be brutally honest and let me know if the numbers still make sense with these um, very high condo fees that I didn't see coming at all. Yeah, I'm just looking for cash flow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it. With that being said, one, my goodness, is that expensive insurance that literally doubled. Like that sounds crazy to me, but I'm not familiar with the local market, so I'm sure that the condo board did everything they could to find alternative providers, but that's a massive jump. Welcome to another episode of Deal Destruction. I'm your host, Matt McKeever. Today, we're going to be looking at a single-family condo in Fort McMurray, it looks like, from David. Hey, David, how's it going?
Hey, Matt, thanks for having me on Deal Destruction today.
Excited to have you. So this is kind of a unique situation. So you bought and closed on this property during the summer?
I took possession of it in early July.
Okay. So give us a little bit of the backstory here.
So it was my first time dealing with the foreclosure. There was actually 3 condos on the market when I was first looking at it. One went firm, and that's when I decided to kind of put in a reasonable offer that I thought was reasonable on this property, and then kind of went back and forth for a bit. It did come with no appliances or anything like that.
Gotcha. And so is this your first rental property? Where's this kind of stand on your real estate journey?
So this is actually my second. I picked up my first one in January of this year.
Okay, awesome. And so kind of an unusual situation going on with this condo?
Yes. So after I took possession of it in late August, I got notice from the condo corp that condo fees were going up 81%, strictly due to the renewal of the insurance policy on the condo.
So what happened there? Like just
Nothing. I did my due diligence when I bought the place. There was no claims besides the wildfire in 2016. There was actually 6 companies that insured the place. One dropped off, and then the other 5 actually they reduced their position, and then they couldn't find anyone in Canada, so they ended up having to find insurance through one company out of London.
interesting. And so this is all because of the fire that happened back in 2016 primarily, or what?
There was no other insurance claims on the property, as far as I
Interesting.
know.
Okay. And then do you mind just giving a little bit of context for me and the audience?
Yeah.
You know, Fort Mac is an area a lot of people have heard of, but not necessarily, we don't stay up to date on everything going on in that market. So if I understand correctly, it's not a very hot market right now.
I wouldn't call it a hot market. I was just reading an article the other day. It actually has its lowest inventory, I believe, in the last 13 years. However, prices have pretty much uh, stayed still the whole time.
Okay, so inventory's at like an all-time low, but prices are still kind of soft.
Yeah, so this place actually has 130 units, and there's actually 0 on the market right now.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so appreciate you got us a screenshot here, kind of the matrix listing from when you would have bought it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So 3-bed, 1-bath. So right now, is it rented out?
Yes, I have a tenant there that they signed a 6-month lease.
Okay. And then let me just pull up. You also shared a couple.
So that's kind of what I was looking at. That was what was on the market when I was looking for my unit. The one listed for, I believe, the 179 one went firm the day I decided to put my offer. That ended up selling for 172,000, and then the end unit that was listed for 199 sold after the fact, and that went for 190.
Okay. And what did you end up buying yours for?
I came in at 145 and ended up getting it for 150.
Oh, okay. Nice. And what was the main difference between yours and the unit number 28?
They actually all had unfinished basements. I was surprised how much that one went for because it actually had carpet upstairs, where the unit I ended up purchasing I thought was more ideal for a rental situation, having vinyl plank throughout.
Gotcha.
The backyard was in very rough shape. That all had to be redone, as well as there's one broken window when I took possession.
Okay, cool. So I feel like we've got a rough feel for kind of what's going on. Um, and has there been a unit sale recently in your building?
No, it's actually a weird market because not all of them actually burnt down. None of the ones built in 2016 have gone on the market since I purchased mine. However, when I did purchase it back in July, it did appraise for 160,000 when the bank went through.
Okay. Interesting set of situations. So, what are we chatting about today?
So I just want you to be brutally honest and let me know if the numbers still make sense with these very high condo fees that I didn't see coming at all.
Gotcha. Do you got financial statements to share, or?
I don't have anything like that, but I got all the numbers on my phone here.
Okay, let me just pull up my Google Drive, get an Excel document going, or a Google Sheet, and we'll jump into some basic math. So was the original plan when you bought this property just to have a cash flowing rental?
Yes.
Yeah. And I assume that's ideally the primary goal still?
Yeah, I'm just looking for cash flow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
So the current rent is $1,900.
Okay. And I'm going to guess that's fair market value. Like that's.
Yeah. She, like, my property manager always tends to be on the lower end. Like, this was actually on the market for 10 days before I had a lease signed. So I was quite happy with that.
Okay. Awesome. What are we looking at for expenses?
So utilities are included with a cap at $250 in that $1,900.
Okay.
Insurance on my two properties runs about $127 per month. So I'd use about half that.
Okay.
And then I do have to pay garbage, which is $55 every other month, as well as water, which runs about 108 from my last bill.
And 108 a month?
So the trash as well as the water bill is billed every 2 months.
Okay. $108 plus 55 divided by 2. And sorry, did I do this right? Your insurance was $127 a month?
Yes, so half of that.
Gotcha. Yep.
Property taxes on it last year were $1,050.
Okay.
However, that was at a $231,000 valuation. So
you might be able to apply and see if you can get reduced.
Hopefully.
Okay. Yep. Any other input costs here?
My property manager charges 10% gross rent.
And do they take care of like lawn and snow and stuff, or does the condo board do all that?
The backyard is the only thing they have to cut. And with my property manager, we can either pay for that or we can give them a lawnmower. So I just provided them with a lawnmower instead.
Okay, cool. And so this is all our input costs then, other than our mortgage?
Yes.
Okay. And what sort of mortgage payment are you looking at now?
So I put it on a 30-year instead of a 25, and I pay about, I believe it's $476 per month.
Okay. And 30-year more. Okay, so it looks like you're still cash flowing pretty well, right? If I understand correctly.
Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything in the numbers there. Besides obviously for vacancy.
Yeah. I mean, like, oh, and sorry, what were the condo fees?
Oh, yes. Condo fees have gone up to $561. They were previously $310.
Okay, there we go. So that's where it gets a bit more expensive. So just for everyone's perspective, it was originally what? Sorry?
I purchased it and the condo fees were only $310 a month.
$310. So originally you kind of went in hoping to get about $450 a month probably in cash flow. And now we're closer to $190. And so I guess with that being said, one, my goodness, is that expensive insurance that literally doubled. Two, otherwise the condo board's in good solvency. Like it said, like the audit's not delayed or like there's no issues going on there.
No, I actually sent it away to a company out in Calgary. They're not lawyers, but they go through, they do a full condo check as well as I read them as well. And everything seemed like everything lined up. And they even did condo checks previously on that unit. They were able to go back and look at.
Okay. And I guess, how long is that new insurance
So
for?
the
Like,
insurance renews every year.
so in theory, we could be looking at a new cost again next year if all of a sudden like insurance rates were jacked up again.
Possibly, but I think they kind of got caught by surprise on this one.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they have brought in other people and they've even had conversations about actually dissolving the condo board, but that would actually come at a very high cost.
And then everything would become freehold.
Yes, and then every owner would have to insure the properties themselves.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to zoom in here because for some people watching at home, but you're still above the 1% rule on the surface. I guess for me, a few questions that I'd really want to look at in your situation. So I'm going to first step aside from my normal advice of like, what's your long-term goals and does this fit in with it? Because I say it so often that I feel like the audience must be bored of it because I know I am. So I'm going more focused just on other aspects of this. So one is I'd want to really make sure that there's no risk of rent going down. So again, I don't know Fort McMurray at all, other than just what I hear through the grapevine. But I thought I had heard that the market was really softening there. And I thought that properties were kind of on fire sale. But again, this is all second, third hand information I'd receive. So you're obviously going to be more boots on the ground, but I would just want to make sure that I understood which way I thought that community was going over the next 5-10 years, right? So
Yes.
understanding where employment is, what projected immigration, like net migration is going to be, whether it's growing or dying, things of that nature. And if I felt confident that $1,900 was fair market rent and I didn't see that drastically going down in the near future, and if I felt like the condo fees were highly unlikely to increase in the future, on the surface, this looks fine to me, like from an overall investment standpoint, if this was your goal, right? Like if it fit within your long-term goal. And again, obviously Alberta being a different market, but here in like my market of Ontario, Canada, a lot of investors would be very enticed by these numbers to be able to cash flow a real $200 a month after paying for a property manager and everything. As long as vacancies weren't sky high, as long as that was fair market rent, as long as there was no obvious signs that the condo fees might go up again, those would be the biggest caveats for myself.
Okay, because I was a little worried originally that a lot of people might put their homes on the market, but nothing seems to have even gone on the market since they've announced those increases.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's something that's very important to be aware of as well. Yeah, like it's really unfortunate. I'm just trying to think of like my mental math here for what that must cost. Like, if you're paying $1,000 a year for your insurance, or sorry, 63, you're paying like $700 a year, right, for your insurance.
Yep.
Then you add on the increase in premium of like $250 a month. That's another $3,000. Like all of a sudden you're paying like $4,000 a year to insure $150,000 building. Even if it was 230,000, like that sounds crazy to me, but I'm not familiar with the local market. So I'm sure that the condo board did everything they could to find alternative providers, but that's a massive jump.
Because I even did my due diligence in the beginning and I made sure I looked at like the floodplains and everything like that. And this is way, way out of that that area that flooded this past spring breakup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I do think overall, though, it seems like you got in at an all right price, right, compared to where other people were buying in at.
Oh, for sure.
And certainly, I would expect the increase in condo fees not to help prices in your complex. But the one nice thing about real estate prices is people are sticky. So it's usually, unless they're forced to sell, most people won't sell for a loss. Like they'll hold on to it, like they'll die on that hill rather than sell and take a paper loss, or a real loss. So yeah, I would keep my eye on your condo prices and stuff. But yeah, I guess what's the future hold for you, David,
I
in
don't
your
know. I
real
think
estate
this has
investing?
kind of put the brakes on. I was hoping to at least get another property probably in the first half of 2021. But right now, I'm going to probably kind of sit back and kind of see where the market goes. Obviously, a lot of that depends on the price of a barrel of oil. So,
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you making time to jump on an episode of Deal Destruction. If people want to follow along with you or your real estate investing journey, can they? And if so, what's your social media handles?
I'm not on any of the social medias right now. So,
All right, fair enough. Okay, cool, David. Well, appreciate you making the time. Best of luck. If nothing else, I hope that some viewers at home have at least learned a few things about, really understand your input costs and realizing sometimes, even when you do all your due diligence, there can still be a black swan event, like a huge increase in insurance. We might need to get into the insurance business
yeah,
if
yeah.
you can just double your prices like that.
Because I think originally they were paying between 140 to 160,000, and our insurance went up to about 768.
That's just insane. I Words literally do not even describe that.
And that's only, I thought it was just isolated to this one condo. My other condo in Fort Mac just got hit with the $2,800 special assessment for the same thing.
Yeah, that's I don't even know what to say. Uh yeah, that's crazy. Definitely one of the things to be aware of for investors at home. Just, I do like single family properties because I do feel like I've got the greatest amount of influence or control. Sorry, not single family properties, but freehold properties, non-condo properties, just because my perception is I've got a little bit more control. But at the end of the day, your input costs are what they are. So it'll be interesting to see whether, if any of the other rental units in your building try and pass along those costs, whether you start to see rent prices going up, or whether, based upon where demand is, that landlords just have to absorb that cost.
Guess only time will tell.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks again, David.
Hey, thank you.
What are you saying? Not the time or the place, baby, it's not right.